What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down fresh out. You know how we do it over here. We got another amazing guest for you today, man. It's going to blow your wig back. Matt Bowyer, man, this guy right here, you talk about gambling, sports books, Vegas. This is the man right here. Matt, you were involved in one of the biggest sports betting cases in probably American history, bro. Let's just get right into it, man. Can you tell our fans about it, man?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, man. Well, obviously, I was running probably one of the biggest bookmaking operations in the country as far as volume. I had about 1,200 clients at my peak. I think when the feds raided me in October 5th, 2023, I had about 700-800 clients actively. One of the clients being, you said get right to it, was Ipe Mizuhara, which was Shohei Ohtani's interpreter. And, the feds at the time weren't even aware of that, actually, believe it or not. They came to me on a different situation when it comes to the casinos, which we'll get into. And so, Ipe was betting with me over about 16, 17 months. Started off really small, $1,000, $8,000, $1,000 a game, $8,000 credit line, which translated very fast and into a huge account. And within about, I'd say, 30 to 60 days, he was betting $100,000 a game.
Damn.
Yeah, and multiple games. I'm talking, well, I'm sure you heard the reports, but he bet $326 million through my website.
$326 million?
$326 million in bets. And that was about 16, 17 month period.
God.
Yeah, it was wild. He actually was I've been doing this roughly 30 years, obviously no longer in the business. But in that time period, I've never seen anybody he made over 19,000 wagers in 17 months. That is so time consuming, and it shows you how bad the addiction was for him, because to log onto a website and put in a wager and then to select the sport, select the type of wager and make that many bets is almost a full-time job.
Dude, 320. When you do the math and you think about, like you said, if you broke that down in individual games, I mean, on the average, this guy was he was off the chains, man, with the numbers.
Beyond anything I've ever seen in my life. And I'm again, 30 years of doing this, I've seen it all. I've seen it all, Big Herc.
How much did he win?
He won 140-something million and lost 180-something million. So the net that he really lost to me was $40 million.
Okay.
That was the net, yeah. And obviously, he paid me $16.2 million was the total that I received. He still owes me $24 million to this day. But I don't think I'll be seeing that, because the poor guy's going to prison here any day, actually.
Yeah, because baseball, the good American sport, man, they had to make sure they clean that up real quick, because that's bad for image.
Fastest case in the history of the feds to close his case. That's by far, if you go look at it, it's never been done faster.
Yeah, because, as soon as they found it was instant, and it wasn't really in the media. It was in the media, but at the same time, they distanced him from the player quick.
Big time.
Yeah.
They wanted that separation. And there's a lot of question marks to that. I get the questions all the time, major questions like, was he involved? Was he covering up for him? Is Shohei really the one betting? There's so many of those questions. Those are the biggest questions that everybody wants to know.
Well, when you're saying that much, 326, how does I know you have people that handle your accounts. Maybe some people have the power of attorney. They go in. You're not watching your account every day. You're balling like that. You're doing other things.
Right.
But is there any checks and balances when you're talking about that much money moving from accounts and those type of? Is nobody else not aware of those type of transactions? In your camp?
It's a little mind-boggling.
That's a lot of fucking money, man. It's not that's like if you were at Bear Stearns or at Goldman Sachs and
right.
Dude, we had a client and at night we're trading off hours and putting the money back in his account. And I heard people doing this. I know people and they got caught because the money hits after the market, or what? There was a quick wire transfer. What happened?
Right.
So when you're moving money, there's certain things that alert people who are like, look, this doesn't add up. Who was in office at this time trading on this account? Blah blah blah.
Sure.
So I'm like, how do you not see 300? Dude, it's not like 4 or 5 million.
Not only that, here's the other question mark. It wasn't like it happened in 30 days or 2 weeks or even a day. This is over 16, 17 months. God. So think about that. If you are watching your bank account, which most of us do periodically, right?
Yeah.
how do you not notice $500,000 wires being sent out every 2 weeks or roughly, like, because it wasn't, again, if someone steals money from you and they take it all at once, it happens. Okay, now you can see it 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
But this is over 16, 17 months, 500,000, $1 million wire, 500,000 over and over again. So, the answer to that they say being, this is what their side of the story was, that he never even checked that account. Obviously, he had an endorsement account where he was making like $45 million in his endorsements last year. So yeah, he was very wealthy, clearly, but you still check your bank statements.
Well, too, you get those, those alerts.
Correct.
Hey, Matt, bro, there's a 500,000. I mean, did you authorize this? Blah blah
Correct.
blah. I mean, dude, it's not like it's like you owed fraud. Amazon.
Right.
With eBay. But this is like, dude, did you authorize this to be? That's major.
It is, and their defense to that is, which again, the only people that I want to state this, the only people that really know the truth, the God's honest truth, is Ipe Mizuhara and Shohei Ohtani. But that being said, there is statement, or I should say, they did put out a phone call from Ipe and Bank of America, him acting as Shohei Ohtani. So there is some defense there.
Okay.
Now that being said, though, did he redirect those alerts that you're talking about to his phone?
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have all those facts.
Yeah.
We don't know. But I still find it hard to believe that he didn't know that some of the money was, either helping him out. Did he loan him some? Was he aware? I don't know. Do I think Shohei Ohtani made any wagers? I don't. And I'll tell you why. I was at Angel Stadium. He was on the mound throwing 100-mile-an-hour pitches in a game, and there are $100,000 bets flying in on soccer games. So you and I both know that he can't throw a baseball and put in a wager on his phone at the same time. Now, does that mean they were partners in the account? Does that mean that they were 50-50? Because we, as a gambler, we would a lot of times have a relationship with a buddy and say, hey, Big Herc, let's go half on this game. Let's partner up on an account. We'll split the proceeds up or down. But it does look like he's never been known as a gambler. Everyone said that. So either you're a gambler or you're not. And, you gamble, whether it's $5 or $500,000, it doesn't matter. You gamble or you don't. And some people gamble much higher degree. Obviously, I'm a degenerate. I was gambling the highest degrees in the world. But again, if you don't gamble at all, you just don't gamble. And everyone says he didn't gamble. So that's the part. But here's the question. You and I are boys, and, I'm broke and I'm gambling and I have a gambling problem. You're rich and we're really close. Hey, Big Herc, can I borrow a little bit of dough? Can you help me out?
Bread, man.
And then, but no, it starts off small, maybe 500,000, small in this case, right?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you have access to my account, or I have access to yours, I should say. And then you start dripping 500K wires out of there, just thinking, I'll chase it, win it back, and put it back when I can. That's very plausible in this case. But here's the part that's really in question. When Ipe Mizuhara was pulled aside by ESPN in a private interview that never got aired, okay, and Tisha Thompson was at my home, I've met her personally, the one handling this case for ESPN, it's very weird that they didn't air this hour interview that she had with him, where she was told by him his version of the story. And then when it all broke and the Dodgers pulled him aside, and then all of a sudden he was lying on the interview. I don't even know what was said.
Yeah.
But that's the big question here. I'm not saying that I know anything. I'm not saying Shohei did any bets. I don't know this, and I never want to say that something happened I don't know. But I just wonder, did he help him as a friend? And then they said, hey, you had nothing to do with this? That's the question I have.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just, it amazes me, like I said, because of even as a friend, it's like, dude, it's not like I'm going to go into the whole matter $500,000, and even though you're my buddy, you're making millions, but damn, dude, you're like, bro, you done lost a couple of houses in Malibu.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, it's a big figure.
You know what I mean? And it sounded like you said this guy was all over the place. It wasn't like he was betting on everything, right? You saying soccer?
Mostly soccer, but he was betting everything. Yeah, everything but baseball. It was zero bets.
Okay.
That is a fact.
Yeah, okay.
The FBI had access to my website.
Wow, okay.
Zero baseball bets. I can verify that.
Man.
But soccer was 80% of the action, but he definitely was betting on NFL. He bet on NBA. He bet on, soccer games that I've never heard of in my life, in leagues in Pakistan. I mean, you'd be shocked, truly.
God. Now, is that somebody who just, because I mean, Owen even talked about like some people. It's when they lose, they get off. It's like an adrenaline rush. But like, how do you pick? I mean, how are you picking on? I mean, what do you, dude? How you have that many hours in a day? Pack like you said over here.
You don't.
Game in India, game in Saudi Arabia. Then I'm gonna bet on the Cavs versus the Lakers. I mean, dude? Do you expect to really win? I mean,
no, it's just action. Because let's be real. I would wager to say that there's no chance he even knew half of the players on any of these teams or one player. Because when you're betting on, I mean, FC Milan versus AS Roma, two popular soccer teams, people know some of the players, right? You know who Cristiano Ronaldo is and stuff. Yeah. But when you're betting on a team in Pakistan, I promise you he doesn't know one of the players. You can't even look up some of these soccer games. How do you know who that player is? So if I'm handicapping Big Herc and I playing one-on-one at basketball, at least I have an idea who I'm betting on.
Yeah.
But when you're betting on just random people, it's clearly you're just betting for action. He's chasing. He's just trying to win money back and what's available. Clearly he was up all night because there's nights I would go to sleep, I'd wake up and he'd win $3 million or lose $3 million.
Damn.
In a night. No joke. And I would wake up early just to check the account because there were some wild figures going on, for me.
So when you're dealing with people at that level and you have to do like a big payout, how's that managed? How do you guys do those payouts and keep everything within a certain boundary? I mean, how that happen?
That was the biggest art of the business for me. I mean, on a Sunday night at 5:00, I would sit down in my office. I had 48 agents across the country, literally, mostly in California, but in all states. And what you have to do is figure out exactly how to move millions and millions of dollars from Sunday, the games usually end by 8 p.m., until Monday, Tuesday. I try to pay everybody on Monday that I can. If I didn't pay you on Monday, it's because you might have been in Wyoming and you wanted a cash. Well, I have to FedEx it to you, so you're going to get it Tuesday. But the art of the movement of the money is the biggest part. So you have a guy in Texas who wins $18,000, and you have a guy in California that loses, let's say, $20,000. I'm going to try to get the guy in California to pay the guy in Texas for me, because.
Rather than it makes it easier because it's going from him to him.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Got you. Makes
sense. I had a good relationship with my clients, so when you build that rapport and they know you're honorable, you know they're honorable. I can call you up and say, "Hey, Big Herc, you owe me 12. Tell you what, just send 10,000 to here. I'll carry the 2,000 in the account. We'll just carry over the next week."
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And that way I could cross the money around everywhere. Because if I moved all that money into one account, it's so much movement.
That's what I mean. Without the eyeball, like, whoop, that's like right off the top. Like, what is this?
Correct. Yeah. So that was the biggest challenge in my business. I think I did it better than most because one of the reasons I attracted a lot of customers is, number one, is I kept their business, private. That's why I had a lot of celebrities and athletes, because I didn't talk about who they are. I still don't to this day. It's not in my book. I don't talk. You ask me questions about people, I won't say their names out of respect for them, right? It's easier to talk about them and sell them out, but I won't do it. They're still playing. There's guys that are doing movies. I'm not going to ruin their careers.
Yeah.
But that being said, keeping that anonymity and keeping them private and paying them how they want was so important. So if a guy wants a Venmo, if a guy wants an Apple Pay, a guy wants a Cash App, he wants a PayPal, he wants a wire, he wants cash, he wants my driver at his work at 9 a.m. or his house, all that's going to be handled. That's important to me because how they get paid is really what they care about almost more than the actual betting. They because some people hide it from their wives, or doctors, or lawyers. They don't want their wife knowing they just blew $50,000. They're hiding everything. Because it's the gambling world. Let's be honest. I mean, a lot of the wives don't want to know what their husbands are up to when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to the casinos or DraftKings, FanDuel. You're not hiding it. It's all reported.
Now, looking at sports, I mean, and you see like sometimes like some of the games. How many? I mean, in your honest opinion, is like when you're looking at the score, is you think any of the players, like whether it's like I don't know, I mean, I think the NBA would be the easiest, because it's a smaller amount of people on the court rather opposed to like football where there's more people. Do you think that certain people, in order to keep the spreads, because to me it's like amazing, and I've looked at bet. I've always been fascinated with like, goddamn, how they figure out like Oklahoma's gonna blow them out by 50. You know what I mean? I mean, really, like in a college, like football, like really, they're gonna. I mean, dude, they cover the spread. It's like what? Yeah. They beat them by like 6 touchdowns. It's like how? I mean, how was that calculated, bro?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. Most people think that odds makers are giving you a line based on what they think is going to happen in the game. It's not true. The odds maker's job is to get the world to get 50% of the action on one side and 50% on the other. So let me give you an example. Go to Oklahoma. You see that spread all the time. They're playing some high school football team, basically.
Yeah.
The spread's 51 points, right? Where do they come up with that? Well, they run down algorithms. They run down weather. They run down all kinds of things.
Turf and everything else.
But the main thing isn't, if that person it's a group of people that put out the odds, they're not saying to you, hey, Big Hurt, I think Oklahoma's going to win by 51. What they're saying is, how do I get, let's just use a number, 1 million people to bet on Oklahoma and 1 million people to bet on Alcorn State, let's say. That way the juice is just there, so the sports book doesn't have any risk. There's no exposure. That's ultimately a dream for a casino or even a bookie, because at the end of the day, you take in all these bets, you have no risk, you're getting 10% juice, and there's zero risk. That's their goal. They just want double-sided action.
Oh, so balance the books.
That's correct.
Wow.
Now, that being said, they're pretty accurate with their spreads. As you said, it's pretty amazing. Like, sometimes you'll see it comes down to the last minute in almost all these games. You know, there's blowouts too.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible how they come up with the odds that are so, down to the last minute.
Very close.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
NFL especially, right? This year was a little different. I wasn't booking this year because I'm out of the business, but this year was really tough on bookmakers. Vegas got beat up kind of this year because a lot of favorites. There's no parity this year. But normally it comes down to Cleveland Browns might be the worst team against like the best team, but it still comes down to the last play with the spread.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, because I'm always tripping out just how they get the numbers so close. And it's like, dude, you're waiting like in the last 5 minutes. Like, dude, are they going to cover a spread? Then, it's almost a push, and then somebody kicks a field goal. You're like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me.
100%. And literally that ball, whether it hits the upright or is caught or dropped, is millions and billions of dollars across the country. And in my case, I bet 4.2 million on the Kansas City Chiefs in 2023 Super Bowl. I won, it was a $9 million swing, right? I won 4 points. It was a little more than 4.2 because they're a dog. I bet them on money line too, but that was the biggest bet I've ever made in my life. That's a
4.2 million in one bet?
Yeah, I have the tickets to prove it. I bet 4.2 million.
What made you go for that hard? I mean, dude, that's like
the biggest bet I ever made in my life.
Your nuts is like, did you just had like a little cachet, like, I'm gonna put it all on this game?
It was every dollar I can get down in the game.
How'd you have that much confidence in the bet?
I've had every bet I make, I have confidence in. The problem is I have too much confidence in myself, and that's what's cost me money over the years. I've lost so much money betting sports. Even though it's funny, people ask me, you were a bookmaker. Why are you gambling? I'm like, because that's my disease.
Yeah.
I don't do drugs.
Yeah.
I've never done a drug in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy. I'm married. I'm faithful.
Yeah.
Love women. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah.
But I stay in my lane there. And clearly, like, my vice was gambling. So I always believed when I walked into a casino, I'd bring 2-3 million. My job was to win. It was me against them. It's a war. It's no different for me betting on a football game. I view it as I do all my homework. I try to handicap it. It doesn't matter. It's still difficult. I try to make sense of what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, it's really feeding this vice.
Did you feel more of a edge when you were doing your homework, betting on a football or a basketball game, or say if you went and bet somebody and play like, let's say a poker hand or a golf game? I mean, because you have more control over it, because you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's me, myself, right?
Yeah, so...
Well, listen, you can ask Owen this yourself. I mean, I bet him $50,000 on a 40-yard dash. I had a lot of confidence.
Who won that?
Who do you think? Come on, Big Hurt.
I think I got the win. Okay.
I'll be 50.
Okay.
He's 42, I think.
Yeah.
And we were in the middle of a golf round. We were betting 40, 50,000 a hole.
Yeah.
That's before he went in, of course. And we're on the, he was an athlete. I mean, he's a very athletic guy.
Yeah.
Played at USC, volleyball, football, whatever. And, I'm a little bit bigger. I'm a little bit bigger than he is, right? I mean, he's taller.
Yeah.
And he thought, his stocky boy's not going to be able to run. Well, I can run.
Yeah.
And so he didn't know that. I said, all right, I'll bet you I'll smoke you in a little race real quick. And I'll be honest, I had to get after it. I beat him, but it wasn't by a landslide. And
you were on it.
I'm just quick.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he's quick too. But I had to get after it. I usually smoke people in a race. And I say that for my size. They judge me based on my size. So it was a 40-yard dash. We took off our shoes in the middle of a golf round at Shadow Creek in Las Vegas. Beautiful golf course. We timed it up. We put a golf club on the other for the finish line. And I probably beat him by about 3 feet, which is kind of a lot in 40-yard dash, but he'll tell you the story. But that I had control over. I would have bet $1 million on that.
Okay.
You know, even though I didn't know how fast he was, he had long legs, but I just know how quick I was. If you beat me, beat me. But anyway, golf, I'm not really good at golf, but we would gamble big on golf.
Okay.
And yeah, of course, I'd rather bet on myself.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm not an NFL athlete. And, you know, I didn't have that ability because I wasn't a pro in any sport, so I couldn't bet on myself. I did in the casinos, though, and I did, even though I can't control the cards, I did feel I had control of how much I bet, money management. So I lost gambling my first 9 years of my life in the casinos, a lot. When I say a lot, for how young I was down like $3.5 million, and I won it all back when I was like 28, 29. Okay, when I won it all back, the MGM Grand cut me off, MGM Raj Corporation. So I won it all back. It was like $3.5 million. I became profitable, $8,000, and I get a letter in the mail that says that you're banned and barred from our properties.
Because you started winning?
Yeah, because I won my money back. And you know what? I called my casino host, and I'll never forget this. And he says, I said, "What's the deal here, Tony?" And he's like, "Hey, man, I'll be honest with you. I asked the same question. You're one of my best customers. I don't want to lose you, but you're labeled a non-profitable guest." I said, "Well, explain that to me. I know what non-profitable means, but I've won $8,000 in 10 years or 9 years of gambling here, you know, and I'm here every 3 weeks gambling at the highest level. Why would you guys not want my business? I was down $3.5 million. Clearly, you have potential to make a lot of money." He said, "You know what the problem is? You're up $2 million in comps over the last 9 years. So you've only won $8,000." But they look at it like you're up $2 million. And they value their customers. They want suckers walking in. You used to be a sucker, and you figured it out. Now I started counting cards. I started, you know, don't get me wrong. I still was a degenerate. So I would gamble. I wasn't in there doing what pure card counters do, right? My bets didn't go from $100 to $10,000. I was still gambling high enough where they had an edge, but it was much more minimal. And then I learned how to milk the comp system, you know, to the point where I would milk every dollar in comps. So I'll give you an example. I'd walk in, I have a $25,000 you know, table at a nightclub. We'd eat the finest restaurants. I'd fly in their jet. I'd get a villa. They'd give me $20,000 to $25,000 in promo chips walking in. My wife would get a $20,000 gift card to the shopping spree. All of that was covered. I'd have 2 bottles of Screaming Eagle, maybe whatever, champagne, whatever I wanted. All of that, once those comps are over, you really have nothing left to get. So then, at the end of the trip, I would call my host and say, "Look, what's my theoretical?" A theoretical is a number that it spits out in their computer, and it says exactly the value of what you're supposed to lose based on that trip, based on how many hands you played.
Okay, what they invested in you so they can get back return.
Yeah, so let's say you bet an average of $10,000 a hand, and you played 12 hours in a trip. It'll spit out a theoretical number. What that number will say is, Big Herc should have lost $150,000 this trip, just based on the numbers. You might have won $300,000 or $2 million or lost $2 million. It doesn't matter. That number is all they care about, because that's where over time that number will always play out for them. Okay. So let's say you had $150,000 as a theoretical. Doesn't matter if you won or lost. They are entitled to give you roughly 30% in comps on that theoretical. That's what you're entitled to. So in this case, that's easy. It's $45,000. Now they back it out. All right, $25,000 at the nightclub, $5,000 for his room, $3,000 at dinners, promo chips, da-da-da. So if you haven't reached your theoretical number, what you're there, you can squeeze them for more. And people don't know that. I understood the system. So I would call my host and say, "Hey, Tony, I have $40,000 in comps. Okay, I got $50,000 in theoretical. In that $10,000, give me 20 bottles of wine. I want Opus One. I want liquor. I'd order alcohol because that's my way around it. Because a little bit of shopping, you go to spa. These are for high whales, obviously. They don't give this to lower level people. So at the end of the day, I would milk that system so bad I became non-profitable. Because even when they beat me, I would squeeze them for every drip. And that it went against me in a sense of, I was milking it, but I became non-profitable, so they cut me. So all MGM Mirage properties gone. Cosmo cut me, gone. So every casino just started eliminating me. And then I started finally winning, and then they'll cut you even quicker.
So at that point, as a gambler, I mean, what do you got to go to these bullshit casinos and try to break their bank without them knowing? I mean, how do you?
You can't though, because great question. You go to let's say Imperial Palace used to be, now it's Link. They won't take those limits.
Yeah.
Your limit will be 5,000 a hand or 10,000. So you can't even do what you want to do there. I was betting my average bet on a hand was like 40,000.
What game is that?
Baccarat.
Wow.
I played blackjack, but I got cut off almost everywhere in blackjack.
Okay.
So I had to stop and start playing something where they had the edge, which is, I still love baccarat because I'm a degenerate. But the truth is, in baccarat, I was playing 300,000 a hand. That was my max every 35 seconds. And it was wild. Yeah. And I brought my team in. I bring an entourage of my friends, give them a bankroll, get them credit lines so they could, that's how I would get the limits higher. Because at the end of the day, once you're cuffed on your limits, that's why Vegas has limits, right? Let's be real. You could have a guy who's worth $5 billion walk in that place. He'll never lose if you have no top end limit. All he's going to do is bet 100,000. He loses, he's going to bet 200,000. He loses, he bet 400,000. He's just going to keep going until he wins 200, whatever amount he wants to win. But he has unlimited bankroll.
Is that kind of like those guys, because I sometimes go down rabbit holes and I watch those casinos in like Maku, where they go there and these Chinese guys are betting. They're like, one guy, I remember he broke the casino, he won like $250 million. And
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, he has a bankroll, but he knows the numbers. And those, a lot of those Asian guys, they bet big. I mean, they go, especially in Baccarat,
that's their game.
Oh my God, they go up there and they're betting astronomical numbers.
I've been to Macau. I've been to Singapore.
How's that, man?
It's wild. Their limits are higher. Singapore's bananas. So I don't know if you've ever seen that casino. It's got like pillars and the casino's up top. It's beautiful. It's in
Is that the one owned by that one Asian guy? He's like the Donald Trump over there. He's like balling out of control. He owns a couple big casinos in Singapore, right?
Correct.
I forgot his name.
If you ever watched the movie Crazy Rich Asians, that casino is in there. I've been there many times. It's beautiful. They have it's the biggest casino I've ever seen for table players in Baccarat in my life. And I've been to Macau too. It's got a lot of this too, but massive money. Everywhere you walk around, you got guys betting 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 a hand.
God.
Nothing like Vegas.
Wow.
Vegas will cap most people. Singapore is the real deal. Macau,
next level over there. People don't even have no clue, huh?
No, everyone gambles, so it becomes more, normal as opposed to here. Not everybody gambles, right? In the U.S.
What are the backgrounds of people who are like? Because it's got to be like some type of competitive nature. Because like you said, it's a adrenaline rush. It's an endorphin. It's like you're not, you're most likely you're not into drugs. So this is like a drug. So what type of where are these people from? I mean, is this different backgrounds or what type of?
Yeah, it is, but it's all the same. You said it best. It's competition. People want to beat something that is so hard to win at. Number one, and like me, I can't bet on myself being an NFL quarterback because I'm not good enough to be an NFL quarterback. So that's why I like to bet on sports. I love sports and I love the action.
Oh, okay.
I love the dopamine rush.
Okay.
So since I can't do it myself, I'll bet on who I think I can handicap and figure out who's better. Same thing in Baccarat. Guys who don't even like sports, that's what they get. They can kind of bet on themselves to a degree. They can't control the cards, but you can control how much you bet. You can money management, and you get that dopamine rush that is unlike anything in the world. I don't care what anyone says. I won $3.5 million on a craps table in 40 minutes. Best feeling in the world. I mean, you're rolling the dice, and I have literally $1 million on the line every roll, and you're just praying a 7 doesn't pop up.
How many people were around when you were throwing the dice?
That time, I had a private table. It was just me, my wife, and 2 of my friends. But I've been at tables where you can't even move.
I mean, what is that like though? Just like when you won when you're rolling the dice. I mean, dude, I'm nothing like that big, just in the hood shooting dice and licking dudes, and then dudes want to shoot you because you took $5,000 from them.
Right.
I've been in shit like I've never played big time Vegas because but what is that, dude? What is that feeling? I mean, it's got. I mean, 3.5 million. When you win, what do you do, man? When you like,
well, and to be truthful with you, I was in the Dominican Republic when this roll happened. I had a $2 million credit line, and I had $88,000 left. I walked up to the table because they wouldn't give me an extension. It's called a TTO, which is basically a temporary extension for the trip. My credit line was maxed. They had me buried, so they're like, casinos.
Shit, so you were in the hole.
I was in the hole, 1.912 to be exact, right? And so I was fired up. I was pissed. I was whining like a little bitch, fucking whining my wife, and sitting here going, fuck, man. Because once you're like as a gambler, actually the money I was upset about, but I was more upset that I couldn't gamble anymore because I had $88,000, and to me that's one hand. So I know if I lose a hand, I'm going to be sitting around this beautiful island, miserable, because you don't care anymore
Yeah.
about how beautiful the island. Everything's covered. It's all free. I could sit there and drink more pina coladas they can make.
Yeah.
It's all, it's comped. But I won't have any fun, if other than just sitting around thinking about the $2 million I'm down. So I'll just leave. So I'm like, you know what? They're not going to give me an extension. Fuck it. I'm just going to.
So you weren't even worried really about the $2 million you were down. That wasn't that was secondary thought to the fact you couldn't gamble again.
That's correct.
Wow.
The truth is, when you're a real gambler, all you want is action. You want an opportunity, because we've all done it. Every gambler has been stuck in this big hole and gambled their way out. That's what keeps you going back. And don't get me wrong. You've been stuck in that hole and you buried yourself 10 times harder and worse, many more times.
Yeah.
But you always remember that recovery. That moment where you, just like I'm describing to you, this is what we're talking about, right? I'm not talking about when I buried myself, went home, owed $4 million, didn't have it all, because we can get to that next. But the point is, I had literally $88,000 left, down 1.912, in the Dominican Republic, miserable, just want to go home. So I walk up to the dice table, and I just spilled the $88,000 across the table. The sad part is, if I would have had enough bankroll to start, I would have won another $2 to $3 million at least, because I had to build up the numbers to get maxed out. So the entire table was maxed out after about 7 or 8 rolls, because I hit the pass line. I used that money to bet every single number, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, etc. So I wanted every dollar and every number as much as possible. Then I'd bet a come bet. It would go to that number. I would win that bet and then use that to put the odds on that come bet too. So I was betting as much as I possibly can. As they call that 2 ways to the number. So every number was maxed out. I couldn't bet another dollar on the table at one point.
Wow.
Unless I bet a prop bet like, Big Six or those. I don't bet that shit. So long story short, then I rolled the dice. 42 minutes later, 3.5 million. I rolled a 7. $1 million gone. That was off the table. I still had 3.5. I paid the $2 million, took the 1.5, and we went home. I mean, we enjoyed the rest of the trip. Don't get me wrong, but I shut it down. And that's the type of thing that those moments is what sucks you back in.
Yeah.
Because you think you could do that every time, or more than you can.
How hard is it to shut it down though?
It was easy at that point. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I just knew I was one roll of the dice from being busted, owing $2 million, going home like a little crybaby, and now I have $1.5 million. I might have took $100,000, just fucked around with it, just but I had a number I had locked up I think it was 1.3 actually. I was going home with that no matter what, and because I at least had that discipline, right? Like, because you love to gamble, and now I have all the trips covered. I beat these fuckers. I mean, it's a war, and I was down. They wouldn't give me more credit, so they actually pushed me to be like, I wanted to motherfuck them at this point. I wanted a piece of their ass. That's the way I looked at it.
And while you're gambling at that level, you have simultaneously, you're checking, you got your online stuff, and it's making money every day.
Yeah, that my business was, it was fantastic. I mean, to me financially.
Yeah.
Of course, it's put me in the position I'm sitting today, which is possibly going to prison and, in massive turmoil. So I don't want to misrepresent it, but it was very good to me for a long time. But, I'm dealing with the consequences now. But yes, my business was very lucrative. I ran it very, efficiently. I had it down to a science. I mastered it over many, many years. And I knew that the income would always be on my side, just like a casino, because that's really what I was. I had an online casino in Costa Rica. I had cameras on dealers. They were dealing cards, blackjack, baccarat, all of it. And the cameras are there, so it was live. Because, people, when you play an online casino, it's not live, they think you're cheating them. So I took that out of the equation, created a card room, literally with cameras on it. So you can play on my platform, and you could pick the table, you see the card being dealt, you see the lady, she talks to you, hey, Big Herc. You could literally you chat to her. I mean, they're not going to sit here and have full conversations, but they acknowledge you, so you know it's real. And they deal the cards right in front of you.
Well, it seems like, as far as in that game, because you're not really out in the streets, so you're not really a face, you can kind of remain anonymous. If you're running the business, you can pretty much run it until you get ready to retire if you're not really out there. I mean, what's the biggest thing that exposes you to the point where you get caught up in a situation like what you're in now?
I was flamboyant. I was flying on private jets with $3 million every few weeks and gambling at the highest levels. That clearly is going to get more eyes on you. And to be honest, I didn't really hide what I did. I was raided in 2014 by the FBI. They came and grabbed the money. Never was charged. I signed an abandonment form and released the money. And in that form, it basically stated, by signing this, they're not going to charge me with any crimes. and I can't hire an attorney and go after it. And it was like to me, I thought it was a kind of a get out of jail free card. And actually at that time, that's when they asked me about Owen, which I told them about. But anyway, long story short, they took my phone and computer. I got it back within like 4 days. And that night I went out and got my phone back, literally bought a new phone, turned it right back on. I was operating within 2 hours.
So for them, it's more than it's a shakedown.
That was a shakedown.
We want our money. It's like, oh, okay, we did the numbers, and we want this back. You owe us this much.
Yeah, and it's funny, when they came, it was March 14th of 2014. I'm sorry, March 25th of 2014. And they made a comment to me, they being the FBI, it was HSI. They said, we're not here for your taxes because I just paid it. Like, they saw it in my bank account. Mm-hmm. I just wrote a check to the IRS. So they knew I was paying taxes. Clearly now, when I sit here today, I have a tax problem. I wasn't paying the right amount of taxes. But at that time, they weren't sweating it because I was paying taxes. Now, that being said, the investigation I have now is completely different. The numbers are 10 times higher because now you're fast forwarding it 10 years later, and the numbers were huge, really big. But it was a shakedown. I think the value of me at that time to them wasn't worth a full federal investigation. I'm just speaking out of my opinion. They did grab a chunk of change, just under $1 million, and I think they were satisfied with that. And at the end of the day, I wasn't fighting it, so I was happy to sign the money over and just move on.
Wow. And as far as I know you had some pretty high profile clients, and we've kind of talked about it. Is there like a lot of athletes do you find they kind of get caught up also not necessarily betting and on their games, but also getting involved in that action? Because we've heard about like Dennis Rodman owing money. We've heard about Barkley. He said he had to quit. And we heard about Jordan, of course, one of the biggest. And I read a story where he, in this restaurant in Chicago, underneath they had a basement. They were gambling down there, and one guy said he was a rookie and he messed around. And he lost like $200,000. He's like, dude, that's my rookie signing bonus. He's like, I'm busted out, and he's dealing with these mob dudes like, dude, we want our money.
Yeah.
Like, you lose, but hey, dude, next Wednesday, he's like, yeah, we want cash.
Right.
No checks, no, bring our money here.
Sure.
So they're at these tables gambling.
Right.
So, I mean, what is your whole view on that?
That wasn't a problem for me. I never really had any trouble getting paid from any athletes or celebrities.
Okay.
Truly. I had many problems with people, that weren't celebrities and athletes because I had much more of those clients. I was fortunate. All of the celebrities and people I had betting with me, athletes, they always paid, no issues. The only thing I would do is work with them on if they're traveling, guys on the East Coast because he's playing in the game or doing a concert or whatever. No problem, just get me when you get back. I mean, we had that relationship, but I didn't have that problem because the truth is what you're describing and what happened back then, that's like the Jordan days and mob days. Kind of has been gone the last 10 years, because obviously now there's cameras in every corner. The mob's kind of dissipated to minimal, right? They can't get away with half of what they used to, and therefore the game has changed. So now in California especially, there's a lot of bookmakers in California, and if a player doesn't pay, most of them just walk away because what are you going to do? You're going to rough them up and risk your whole business?
Yeah.
You got to, at the end of the day, I learned, believe me, Owen and I, we had some interesting, meetings with some people when I was younger. I used to be a lot better, bigger shape. I was young. I thought I was, in the UFC when I was young. I thought I was this badass motherfucker, which I wasn't, but I thought I was. So when someone owed me money, I had no problems going to their house and knocking on their door and, talking to them in person. And I feel like when you show up at someone's house and you look them in the eyes and say, hey, you owe this money, we're going to have a problem, which led to a problem for me. I had a guy pull a gun on me in Fresno, and I was shitting my pants, but he wouldn't know it. I told him, you better be willing to use that fucking gun, because you're going to put one on me, you're going to have a big problem unless I'm fucking dead. And he ended up paying, literally, the next day. But he tried to negotiate and this and that, but it's all in my book, by the way. But moral of the story is, like, if I let people get out of control, it's partially my fault. I have to vet the customer. I need to be responsible about not giving too much credit. You have a guy who works at the post office, he makes $70,000 a year or whatever, and you're giving him $70,000 in credit. what do you mix in a year? I mean,
Yeah.
that's on me. That's my fault. Now, the problem is they lie. Every gambler does, because they're going to tell you what you want to hear to get the gambling. And you have to really, you become almost a psychiatrist, truly. And because I was such a big gambler and I put myself in those positions throughout my life, I know exactly what they're thinking. And I always tell them, Big Herc, man, I know how you feel. I gamble bigger than most. I've been there where I can't pay. I've been there where I got to, swallow my pride and say, hey, I'll be honorable, I'll make payments to you, but I need some time. Let me do some maneuvering and let me figure this out. That's okay. It's the guy that says, go fuck yourself, or dodges the phone calls, or goes dark on you. That's a problem.
I know, talking with Owen, he said usually the biggest deterrent or kind of like incentive is if these guys are married and you send the wife some flowers and he's like, oh, I got these flowers. And then the guy's like, oh, you see my wife? Says, yeah, next time we're going to tell her what you owe, because that's as bad as cheating.
Right.
You get caught like, you mean to tell me you lost, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, so dude's like, hey, man, just don't, please,
don't tell
man.
my wife.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing to kind of make it do without having to, say I'm going to bust your legs to get them paid. Because that's like, nobody wants that to be exposed.
Even worse, what about you show up at their office? They work for a company, and you got a guy who looks like, he's not normal.
Yeah.
Outside with, tatted up, or looks like he's been in
What
prison.
is this guy doing here?
Yeah, asking questions. I mean, that handles stuff really quick too.
Yeah.
But either one of those things.
Yeah, workplace or home, like something like that.
Yeah, they're just uncomfortable. And sometimes it does take that just to make people realize, okay, I gotta take care of this, And then sometimes they'll still tell you to go fuck yourself. And, if you choose to escalate it, then you're an idiot as a bookmaker, because all you're doing is you're asking the FBI to come visit you and tear down your whole operation.
And have this guy wear a wire and set your ass up for something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest, most of the time you just got to run the guy's phone nowadays, and every bookmaker, even if you're changing your phones out or whatever, the information's too easy for the FBI. They're going to catch everybody with this stuff now.
Now, was there anybody in particular, like guys who you knew, like, this dude, man, I just don't want to take his action. He's just like, this guy right here is always killing it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, there's guys that, like we talked about before, certain guys come into the casino and they don't even want them to play cards because they feel like this guy's got an edge.
Right.
We don't want your business.
Yep.
So there are guys that, like, really knock you upside the head, like, yeah, this guy can't. He's fucking killing me, but he'll let you, because Owen said he used to win, but let guys win sometimes just to make it feel important.
Correct. They call them sharps. So they're professionals, and they're literally less than 1% of the world that knows how to do this. These guys are mostly teams. They're running algorithms on games. They're running it down like 1,000. They simulated the game every which way you can imagine. You'd be shocked, Big Herc, that most of them look like nerds from high school that have never watched a sporting event or even played sports their whole life. But they're brilliant. Half of them are probably.
They did a movie about it. Remember those guys
Yes.
who went to, and they had a team. They were from like
21. MIT's from
and
So
sent them out to casinos, and they were killing it.
no different.
Okay.
They're doing it in sports too.
Wow.
And what they do is they love bookmakers, and I'll tell you why. You go into a casino, let's say, sports book, DraftKings, whatever. You start betting with, these guys start betting. They pick them off really fast. So because they see that here's what's happening. The spread on Alabama State versus frickin' Georgia is 48. And when these guys bet it, now it's gone from 48 down to 44. It's literally, they move the line like 4 points. And the reason why is they're sharp. So when they bet it, the systems know these guys are so good, they'll take the bet on purpose so that they could see the right side of the game, and they'll move the line so the public will be on the wrong side of the game. Oh. So they use them as a source. They only give them small limits, though.
Okay.
We used to do the same thing. When I was in the business, I would take a sharp, knowing he's going to beat me, knowing he's a pro. It's the cost of business. Let him win 20, 30 grand every couple months. But at the end of the day, I get the information. I get to see what the sharp side of the game is, the pro side. And I can go determine if I want to go bet that somewhere else. Oh. You follow me?
So use his game, even though you take a lot, but you could flip that into a benefit because you're using his knowledge.
That's correct.
That's smart, man.
Yeah. The problem is, here's where you get in trouble. He bets it at the same example, plus 48. I go bet it, and now it's 46, because the minute they bet it, the line moves.
Yeah.
And then the game ends up at 47. He wins, I lose, because I'm late to the ball game, so to speak. And when I say late to the ball game, it's seconds. The minute he puts the bet in, the line moves. And throughout the whole country. And I was betting so much throughout the country myself that I was moving the lines as a pro, even though I wasn't. Because when you're betting massive dollar amounts, they got to move the lines. because they want, again, as I explained to you earlier, they want two-sided action. They don't want all the money on one side of the game, because if that game wins, they're exposed to all that money. They being bookmakers, right? So like, you know, that's why bookies lay off. They don't want, even though they think they have an edge, and they probably do, they don't want that exposure of one game. You'd rather have the volume. Just like a casino, same reason they don't take these massive limits. They want to box you in. So over time, they're going to beat you.
So even if they lose in, like, say, baccarat or something, they won it on the floor based on these other guys just throwing money away.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dana White, great example. He bets really big in the casinos.
Yeah, he said he's big.
He is.
Yeah,
he wants to bet $1 million a hand, just like I did. I always asked, let me bet $1 million. They wouldn't let me. They won't let him either.
Well, he said he got kicked out because they said he won too much. Was it Cosmo? Was not Cosmo? One of the big casinos. He said he won like 3-point-something million.
Yep. Yeah. The reason they cut him off though is because he spot plays. So he's smart. He'll come in. He'll try to win 1, 2 million, 3 million, whatever the number is, and he quits. And he lives there, so he doesn't care about the rooms and this and that.
Yeah.
He's all business. So he goes in there to beat them, and he doesn't give them the hours. So the edge is actually reduced so drastically.
Oh, because you're not stuck there.
Yeah, you're not playing for 12 hours in a trip. That's why they want you to play 4 hours a day at whatever average bet you make. They want roughly 4 hours. That 4 hours is where they're favorite. You know, they become favorite. Like the edge is minimal if you play 20 minutes. Think about that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know?
Yeah, you're in and out.
Yeah, I mean, you could win 3 hands at big money like Dana White. He'll sometimes walk in and bet 3 hands, win them all, and leave.
He's baccarat too.
He plays actually blackjack.
Blackjack.
He plays baccarat too. He does, but he's a blackjack guy.
So I mean, your limits on blackjack's gotta be crazy though.
Well, limits are smaller.
That's what I mean. So you gotta be playing like multiple hands. Or?
Yeah, I play 3 hands. I can play 50,000 a hand. You play 3 hands, and truth is, if you get splits, doubles, and everything, it could get ugly quick though. I've had shoes. Blackjack's the fastest game in the world. I mean, because of that, right? Splits, double downs. Like, I've had $1 million swings on the table, even though I started betting $50,000 on bets because of the splits. And when I say swings, you might have $500,000 on the table, but let's be real. Once you put the $500,000 in the circle, they're going to have to match it if you win. So that's $1 million. Whatever that card they flip over for them to bust or whatever they have, it's $1 million because now your money's on the table and their money's on the table, right? So when you bet $500,000, it's $1 million swing. You have to think about that, right? That $500,000 is gone, and you know it's out there, exposed, and they're putting up their $500,000. So whatever that card they flip over, sometimes it's a 6 and a queen. And you're just praying it's obviously a 6 or higher. That's $1 million swing.
So did you also play poker?
Not really. I played in the World Series of Poker about 15 years ago. That wasn't my game. It's too boring for me.
Okay, because I was curious about that because you're not playing against the house when you're playing poker. You're playing against other people,
right?
And that's more of like to me a more me versus you. I got my glasses on. You're over there. This guy's over here. So we're all like kind of like trying to cut each other's throat, and we're trying to see what's the giveaway. And like
they're reading each other. Yeah,
because like. I just watched that where Phil Ivey, remember he went to London, picked a certain, like I want these bicycle cards.
Yep.
He brought the Korean girl in with him.
That was a baccarat.
Killed baccarat, killed him, and then they're like, they couldn't let it go, so they kept studying, and she knew what to look for.
They saw that they could see the card. No, they could see the
card was cut, right?
Yeah, they could see that one of the cards. That's what it was. They could see through the card. That was the system he had.
He was gangster with that.
He was, and they didn't pay him. They didn't pay him.
No, I remember, because they were like, we're not going to pay you because we wanted something didn't add up. Because they said, way he came in, because remember, he won, and then they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, what he did is he requested them to lay the cards out a certain way. Oh, that was abnormal.
Wow.
And the reason he did that was he could see through the card. So he could see what the card was. And obviously that's...
Was it because of the markings he said he could identify the way they were cut? Dude, that's ingenious, bro. That's a gangster move.
The guy's listen, he bet with me for a little while.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He's amazing guy. Like smartest guy out there for poker especially. And everything he does is definitely an edge. He's an edge guy for sure. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, dude, when I seen that and I'm like, watch, and they broke it down and then they didn't want to pay him and then they're like, he brought in this guy. I'm like, dude, this dude, he came in there with, dude, that's what you're supposed to, dude, you guys are busting everybody's head. Let me come in here and bust your head.
No, listen, it's an edge, man. He had an edge, and that's their fault. I think it's criminal that they didn't pay him.
I think so, too.
I mean, at the end of the day, they took the action. Had he lost, You think they would have called him back?
You're
or
right.
something?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like, come on, man.
You're
I
right.
mean, yeah, he outsmarted you, so just pay up. But
Yeah.
no, they didn't, and I think it was total BS. I mean, I give him credit. I mean, that was a brilliant move he pulled off, and just got screwed by not getting paid.
You know, one of the kind of like, I guess, infamous gamblers is Bazarian. Did you ever play poker with him?
Never played with him because I wasn't a poker guy, and he brilliant guy too. Clearly did really well.
Yeah, very sharp.
Now he's selling his how to date women on Instagram and how to get girls, which he's doing seems like pretty well, which is kind of cool. But I didn't run in his circle because of the poker wasn't my thing. The problem with poker for me is it's too time consuming, and I needed a quicker action. You know?
Okay.
And also poker is a grind. Like you got to sit there and you got to play for hours on hours and hours. I didn't have the time or want to spend the time doing it.
So your whole thing is like, put it in and just wait. Watch the game unfold.
Yeah.
It's like the hands in God. You go, you know.
Yeah, I was more instant gratification, which is, you know, a downfall in my life because, you know, it pushed me to, you know, succeed, but it also, you know, when you want it fast, usually trying to make money fast or do things too fast, usually there's something gray in it, or, you know, you're always overstepping the boundaries, or, you know, there's a fine line of like instant gratification.
Well, even, you know, being a bookie, I mean, how many kids, I don't know too many guys who grow up, hey, I want to be a bookie unless you know someone. That's not like your typical, to me, I look like, how did the guy know about owning a gas station? You got to know somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not just going to, oh my goodness. No, there's families, they're connected, they got to hook up somebody. It's like there are certain fields in life where it's passed down through family connections or a contact.
Right, network.
And so how did you even get into that? Because, you know, in school, I remember I did a little bit. I was taking bets, and I said, these guys didn't know the spread, so I would cheat on the spread and take their money. Like, damn, how you always winning? And I'm like, my jingle, they lost so much, they stopped betting.
You ran away your customers.
Because, you know, I had to let a guy win one because I'm like, because he wouldn't pay attention, and I changed the spread by 2 points.
Yeah.
And these guys aren't looking I'm looking at the newspaper knowing, you know, so.
Yeah.
But how did you get into that whole field anyways? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to my life story. So when I was young, I grew up in Cypress, California, very middle class, nice neighborhood. My dad was a bail bondsman, and he ran an air tool supply company. So my grandparents were bail bondsmen too. Okay. My dad was a bounty hunter. And so we lived a really good life. My dad was in the Vietnam War, and about when I was 12, my dad developed a really bad drinking problem. He was drinking like 40 beers a day, 3 packs of cigarettes, running the business out of our house. And so my parents got divorced. And when that happened, we went from like the kids in the neighborhood that kind of, you know, had the nicest gloves and baseball or the nicest bats or all the nicer things we never struggled with to all of a sudden, okay, money's an issue because my dad moved out. My mom was trying to keep, I have 3 brothers, trying to keep 4 boys in the house and keep us in the house. So the struggle was real. I watched her working 3 jobs, wasn't around as much because she couldn't. And so we kind of fended for ourselves. So I started running a poker ring out of my house. I started gambling. I worked at the racetrack when I was 15 selling programs. Shit. And I was hustling. That's when I learned to hustle.
Yeah.
So I was a paper route boy. Then I started selling the Orange County Register door to door. When I was 14, I broke the record in Orange County and won a trip to Hawaii for my mom. I was kind of competing with a bunch of 16 to 18-year-old kids. This lady would come by in a little Bronco van, pick us up and drop us off in a housing complex, apartments, and we'd sell door to door the register for $7 a month. And I was just a grinder. I sold better than all of these kids. And the reason I sold was I had to make my own money at this point. I didn't want to ask my mom for money anymore, for anything. And it's small money. I was 14 years old. But to win this, you know, prize of being the top sales kid in Orange County really made me feel something like, okay, I can accomplish the world, even though it was something so small. So when that happened, it parlayed my hustle into the poker ring. Then I started taking sports bets. Then I started selling weed out of a gas station. I worked at Chevron when I was 16 or 15 and a half. And all these little hustles, I started making really good money at like 15, 16 years old. And next thing you know, at 16, I had a big baseball card collection. I was hustling in that too. I'd go around the neighborhood and kids, you know, I was delivering the newspaper, selling it, whatever. I'd say, hey, you have baseball cards? And I said, yeah. And I figured out Ken Griffey Jr. rookies, Mark McGuire's were all the value. So I'd bring like a pack of commons, which are if you don't know what that is, it's basically the worst players in the league. They're worth of 3 to 5 cents. And I'd trade them. I said, I'll give you this whole box for these 8 cards. Yeah.
That's like almost like I used to do in comic books. Bullshit comics for like universe or whatever, like #1. Give me like
Right.
X-Men #1 for
Because you knew the value of the real ones, right?
Yeah.
And, it's hustling them. I mean, let's be real, but I did it all day. So at 16, I bought my own truck. It was like $3,700. I'll never forget. It was a green Mazda truck. And all the other kids, either the parents had to buy them a car or they couldn't get a car, right? So I bought my truck with my baseball card collection.
Wow.
And then I started working for Norm Johnson, the kicker for the Seattle Seahawks. And a guy named Jim Weir was a baseball pitcher. They opened a baseball card shop in Garden Grove, California. So I had all these hustles going. I was going to these baseball card, memorabilia things. I was selling my cards. I was booking bets, selling weed, anything I can to make money, right? 18 years old in high school, my mom catches me, scale, all the pounds of weed, kicks me out of the house, right? So I'm 18. I go move out with my girlfriend, who was 15 when we met, who became my wife. And we moved out in a local apartment. And then I had to get a real job because now I got bills and responsibilities, and everyone else kind of moved on with their life to graduate high school. So I started working at the airport and for Massimo Clothing Company. So I worked these 2 jobs, 6 to 2 and 2:30 to 10. And it was miserable. I was working, I was making nothing. And just to pay the rent for the apartment, and on the weekends I go to the racetrack and gamble because I love gambling, right? And of course I still bet in sports with bookies, but I really didn't have much of a business anymore because I was 18 and didn't have any money to book. So booking bets, and you can't book bets if you don't have money.
Yeah.
So I was still booking $50 wagers, $100 bets, but it was just enough to pay ancillary bills and feed my gambling addiction. So fast forward, all of a sudden, my ex-wife, 18 years old, gets pregnant. And here I am, this kid doesn't even, I can't even figure my own self out. I'm going to have a baby. So we decided to move in with my mom, who lost our home. She moved to Dana Point into a trailer park, Big Hurt. So you talk about this, we were kind of the rich kids in the neighborhood. Now I'm living in a 2-bedroom, double-wide mobile home in Dana Point, California, on the couch. Because my little brother has a room and my mom has a room. And he's in high school. So living on the couch, my girl's pregnant, and I said, I gotta fucking grow up, man. So I go to the local restaurant and I get a job. They won't hire me as a waiter because I have no experience. So I quit these other 2 jobs to take a job that I thought would waiters at least make decent money, for a young kid. So they give me a job as a busboy. And the GM, I'm like, why won't you let me be a waiter? And he's like, you have no experience, kid. I said, all right. So I had to take it, right? So I take this job. I'm busting tables. I'm making more money than the waiters. Because when people are coming in, even though I'm serving chips and salsa, it was a Mexican restaurant, and I was degrading to me because I was like this white kid, like serving with all these Mexicans, and they don't even speak English hardly, and I'm over here like just trying to hustle. So I built relationships with all of a sudden some of the customers would come in and ask to sit in my section. And the manager had to tell people, he doesn't have a section, he's a busboy. But they requested, so he realized okay, this kid actually should be a waiter. By the time he wanted me to be a waiter, I got a job opportunity from this customer that came in, him and his wife. And he says to me, do you want a job? You're amazing, like your personality, whatever. I said, sure, I'll take it. And he goes, you don't even know what it is. I said, I don't give a fuck what it is. Just get me the fuck out of here. So I drive my $400 beater, that has a hole in the bottom of it, down to Irvine, California. I pull up to this place. There's Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Mercedes, you name it. I was like, what the fuck is this place? I get in there. Hour and a half grueling interview. It's a commodity brokerage firm. And he just breaks me down like a bitch. He tells me that, what are you doing with your life? You're 18. You've never even been to college. Like, you work at this is the same guy who was just coming in and treating me like cool, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, you serve chips and salsa? I mean, he's degrading me. So finally, after about like an hour, I went through the degrading and I said, look, man, I said, either you're going to hire me and you realize that what I'm telling you, that I will be the best employee you have here, or you're just going to tell me I'm a loser the next 30 minutes. But at the end of the day, like, I'm 18. I haven't had a chance to develop my life yet. So I kind of stood up to him, and he really, appreciated it. So one more interview later, he gives me the job. It's $1,200 a month. I'm working 60 hours a week at this commodity firm. Had to go out and buy a cheap suit and tie at Marshall's, and, I was broke. So I start working this job, and I learned that these guys are making $500,000, $600,000 a year, and they're 25 to 40-year-old men. Some older, but mostly that age range. They're blowing all their money on drugs, gambling, hookers. I mean, it was basically the movie Wolf of Wall Street, but legal, okay?
Boiler room?
100%. So I'm like, this is exciting, man. I love the feel of this money. So I started booking a little bit of bets again because, you know, I didn't have much money. So,
Yeah.
But, you know, they kind of saw I had some gamble in me. And long story short, what happens was the phone, there's no internet then. The phone calls would come in. I would be the guy that would patch the phone call to the broker.
Yeah.
And you have a system where you you patch them in, the call goes through, and instead of hanging up, I would mute it on the headphones and listen to the phone call. It's like all this sales training. I was already a good sales guy.
Yeah.
And so I learned what the hell they were doing, what commodities were, soybeans, pork bellies, movie with Eddie Murphy, Trading Places. And so I start studying for the exam, Series 3 license. I go to the owner. I said, listen, I want to take the exam. He's like, you're not even a broker, assistant broker. You can't take the exam. You don't even know what the hell this is. You're the mail guy. You answer the phones.
Yeah.
I said, I tell you what, if I don't pass the test, you fire me. I'll put my job on the line. He's like, kid, I'm not doing it. It costs $450. I said, listen, man. I hand him the flashcards. I said, ask me a question from the exam. Because I have all the flashcards. I was ready. He pops off like 3. I answered them all. He's like, all right, I see you're serious. All right. It's $450. You're willing to risk your job? I said, I sure am. So luckily, I don't think he really fired me, but gives me an opportunity. I go pass the exam. I'm 19 years old. He says, you know what, kid? You're hungry, man. I'm going to give you an opportunity. Let's train somebody for your spot. I'm going to put you with one of the brokers. So we do that. Like 3 months go by. Puts me in with the top broker. The guy makes $1 million a year. Now I'm running this top brokers. We're number 1 in the firm for about 8 months to a year. I work my way up, and it gives me a job opportunity to be my own broker. I became the number 1 retail broker in the world. At 21 years old, I bought my parents' house that they lost.
Wow, bought it back, right?
Yeah, bought it back, and now I was booking real bets because these guys are making real money, and I had money. So now I'm taking $5,000 bets. Keep in mind, this is 30 years ago. $5,000.
So it's your own. You're taking these bets in your own action.
I am. I'm taking all the bets in the office now.
Wow.
I got real people who make real money making real bets. So I start making $500,000 to $600,000 a year or more legally, and then I start making more than that illegally by taking the bets at the office. So now I'm the office bookie, right? And then it just builds. I just built my business. So now I'm going to Vegas because I'm a 21-year-old kid making a lot of money, fucking gambling high. I was, just firing away. I have a baby who's now, 3 years old. Then I had another kid. And, I'm married and all these things. And, I paid for my own wedding. Everything was great about this big house. And I'm kind of like running this rat race where I was with my high school sweetheart. She's amazing. But I wasn't really in love with her. I have 3 kids with her now. And I'm building this bookie business, right? So at 30 years old, I walked away from the business. Well, in that time period, right around 28, I bought my own brokerage firm, sold it to my brother, and I shut it down because I was making so much booking at 30. And gambling at the highest levels in the world, I said, I don't even need to work legally anymore.
Wow.
So that's when I started firing $1 million, $2 million through casinos and gambling at the highest level. So at that time, I was literally flying about every 2 weeks to Vegas on a private jet, walking into these villas. Yeah, about 29, 30 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
And you can imagine, now I'm single, making some serious cheddar.
Man, yeah.
And so the lifestyle was through the roof. And that's when I was at the Palms Casino with all the celebrities, in the Hugh Hefner Villas, Sky Suites, gambling at the Playboy Club. I mean, we did it all. You got Bone Thugs and Harmony having me on stage with them. I mean, it was a great lifestyle. And I was booking bets bigger than you can imagine. But the problem is my ego got so high, I started taking bets I couldn't afford. And I ran into a jackpot. I took $5.7 million in losses, which, when you're 29, 30 years old.
How were you paying them out?
I had the cheddar for a while, then I ran out. I pulled every dollar. I bought another home. I pulled all the equity out of my property, and I had to borrow money to pay off the 5.7. They broke me.
Wow.
I had 3 billionaires betting with me.
3 billionaires?
3 billionaires. Well, it's one family.
Okay.
I'll just tell you this. I don't disclose their name, but they owned a very professional, franchise. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were betting about $400,000 to $600,000 a game.
Damn.
And they loved Tom Brady because they were friends with him. And that was the year he went 14-2. The year before he went 16-0. He went 14-2, but he crushed me that year by Patriots and over every game. They just covered the spread and crushed
Yeah,
it.
because the fourth quarter they would just come back or the comeback crew.
And they just won every week, and they bet them every week. So I would lose $600,000 a week on Patriots alone. So anyway, I ran out of money. They busted me. I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta pay, and not only that, I don't have any money to book anymore. So I had to go to this operation in Costa Rica and sell them on taking over my business and giving me a split where I get 50%. Let me borrow the amount I owed was $440. Let me borrow the $440 to pay the customers. I'll move all my business to you. So I did that. I moved them all over. They agreed to that. Of course, they're looking at this great business. They're going to make 50% of it. Why not?
Yeah.
I borrow the $440 and move them over. About 2 weeks go by, and I'm like, fuck this, man. I fucking built this business. Now these guys are getting half of it. So I decided to take a little chance, like an idiot. Made a poor decision that worked out. And the billionaire players, I opened an account for them. I said, yeah, these are the same guys. And I fired away, and I won $1.3 million betting. It was actually
betting under the auspice that there was a billionaire that was really you?
Correct. I just fucking went for it. I could, if I lost $1 million, I didn't have it.
Yeah.
Clearly. So I got lucky. I won it was like 1.38, 1.4. And the moral of the story is I owed them $440,000. So Sunday night, I get a phone call from Costa Rica. This is like 2 weeks into doing business with them. They said, we need you to come out to Costa Rica, kid. I said, oh, fuck. Okay. Get on a plane, Taka Airlines. I fly out to Costa Rica. Their operation was like in the forest. Most of the sports books are in the city. Mm-hmm. They were very private because you have to be very careful over there. Americans that are in the bookmaking business, one guy just got shot and killed named Tony. He ran 5 dimes. They ransacked him and held him up for his Bitcoin. They killed him. So they all have private security. I mean, they're rich. They have big mansions there. So when I get there, there's 3 partners. They sit me down in a room. When you pull up, they have guys with shotguns, for protection. They kind of try to intimidate me a little bit. I sit down and, they're trying to make me sweat, come clean. I said, we know this is you. I said, that wasn't me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, that bet.
Yeah, all the bets, because I did it for like a week straight of bets. And they said, well, these billionaires that you claim were betting on the account, they don't live in California. This is coming, they checked the IP address. This says it's coming from where you live. And I said, well, it was. I had to think quick. I said, well, these bets are coming from you. How the fuck are you putting these bets? Why are you putting them for them? I said, I don't know. Maybe they're at the game and they called me. I mean, I was their friend, so I was putting bets in for them. They're like, that's bullshit. They're like, these are your fucking bets. They're trying to get me to crack, and own it. I just said, look, man, I'm not going to sit here and fucking be chastised by you guys. Either you got 3 options. You can take me out in the field and fucking shoot me. You can not pay me, and I'll ruin your reputation and tell everybody that you guys don't pay. Or you can pay me. It's up to you, but I'm done with this shit, man. So these 3 guys are arguing amongst each other. One's like, just fucking pay the kid. Let's just fucking be done with him. The other guy's like, fuck this kid. I'm not paying him shit. And then the other guy's still trying to chastise me. I said, I'm fucking done. I stood up. Fuck you guys. I'm out of here, man. So the third guy, who's the nice one, drives me back to the airport. I book a flight. I go home. He says, when you land, call me. We're gonna talk about what we're gonna do. I don't know how we're gonna handle this. I'm like, you guys do what you got to do. And he's trying, as we drive back to the airport, to kind of coerce me to just come clean because he's the nice guy. I didn't, which they were right. I was definitely scamming them. Let's be real. I land. I'll never forget it. I call this number when I land. I get off on Hawthorne Boulevard. I pull into it's like 10 at night. I pull into like a Target parking lot. Some guy pulls up, hands me a bag. It's like $980,000. It says, we're done with you. Lose our number.
Damn. Take
all your clients back.
Wow.
The party's over. I was like, wow, thank fucking God.
Cash, just like that.
$980 in cash. Now I can start booking again on my own. I have my players back. It was like the dream scenario. Bad move that worked out, truly.
Yeah, because it could have been all south.
I would have owed these guys $1 million.
God.
I would have been crying the blues, giving them a fucking sob story, not knowing what to say. And they probably would have kept all my clients. Let's be real. I mean, I had access to the phone numbers, but now they do too. They're calling their office, placing wagers in online betting. So I'm like, I can't do that ever again, man. Taking bets over your head is something I learned.
Dude, you sound like the guy from Uncut Gem.
Oh, that's that movie is, man,
Bro,
anxiety
that movie
city.
has you like, God, this guy, man. My wife can't. She said, I'm too stressed out watching this.
That is actually one of the biggest anxiety movies I've ever seen. I thought it was a terrible gambling movie. Terrible in a sense that they don't really show the real side of betting and all that, but it showed a great side of anxiety and what people go through. And that's been my life. I've put myself in those shoes many times. I tell people all the time, I'm no angel, man. When a guy owes me money and can't pay, I've been that guy. So how could I talk shit on him? Just do the right thing. You know, that's all you could ask him to do. But I've been that guy.
Yeah.
Owen and I met that way.
Yeah. So what's that story?
That story's pretty good. So I met Owen 15, 16, no, more. Yeah, I'd say 17 years ago probably. And because he's 42, he's about 25. So anyway, I started betting with him. I don't know how we got connected, but I started betting with him. So the first week I beat him for $88,000. He comes and pays me. The next week I go to Vegas, I blow $2 million. I come home, my players won $1 million. And I owed Owen like $120 or $130, something more than he just paid me. And I said, I call him up right away, because that's how I am.
Yeah.
I said, hey man, I apologize. You just paid me. I'm gonna need a few weeks, man. I got jammed up in Vegas, and this is 2 weeks into our relationship. And mind you, the biggest thing you cannot do is take a bookmaker's money and then lose to him and not pay him back. That's like, you might as well try to fuck his wife. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna take care of it. I know you don't really know me. And Owen was pretty jacked at the time. He was tatted up everywhere, right? Because he thought he was a gangster. And he says to me, well, we got a big problem then. I said, yeah, we do have a problem. I owe you about $125,000, but you're going to get it. And he says, well, that's not going to fly. I said, I'm going to say it again, man. You're going to get paid. Just relax. He says, I'm not relaxed at all. We have a big problem. I said, if you say it one more time, we're going to have a fucking bigger problem. He goes, again, we have a big problem. I said, then let me give you my fucking address, motherfucker. You want a problem? He goes, send it over. I'll be there as fast as I can. I fucking sent him my address. The motherfucker got in his car and started driving to my house. That's how we met. I laced up my shoes. I told my ex, I said, I'll be sitting on the porch here. We're going to have a shit show going down in about 40 minutes, because he was driving from Redondo Beach.
Yeah.
I sat on my porch. Motherfucker pulls up in his little white Range Rover. O-Dog gets out of the car. I was like, I never met him. I met him one time, but never met him like in this facet. He comes out of his car, and he's a pretty big dude. I stood up. I said, let's fucking dance. And he could see in my eyes that I was ready to fucking rumble, you know. And, you know, he's no slouch.
Yeah.
But he looked at me and he's like, you got a lot of balls, man. I said, bro, I told you, I'm not trying to dodge you, man. I'll pay you, but I can't pay you right now. And so right away, I already knew he didn't want to dance, because, you know, you don't get out of the car and start tripping.
Start talking. You
either dance or you don't. Yeah. And thank God, I mean, I didn't want to rumble with him, because I was in the wrong. And he's a big boy, you know, but I wrestled in high school. I was pretty good athlete. And at the end of the day, man, I probably deserve to get my ass beat in this moment. So we hugged it out. We became bros ever since. He's like, you got more balls than anyone I know. I said, well, so next thing you know, I started collecting money for him from his players and problems.
Okay.
And so we built a really good relationship. Of course, I paid him. It took me a few weeks. I paid him. And we just built a lot of respect for each other. The problem with Owen is he got so high in his own, you know, not only supply, but his own ego. He started drifting into the drug, area, and that's what got him in trouble.
Well, he said if he would have stuck with it, he probably would have been like the guy with FanDuel now, who's legitimately never advertising him for the NFL or MMA game fights. You know,
I love O-Dog, but he would have never been a FanDuel, because they'll never let a regular Joe run an operation like that. It's
so
always
those all connected people.
Yeah, no, it's not even people. You have to be a corporation who has billions of dollars. If you go look at the history of any sports book or any casino, they have massive amounts of money. I mean, billions. It's a corporation. It's never one person. It can't be you and I.
Like
they won't give you and I a license. They're never going to do that, because guess what? You don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. And they want corporations that will never be out of money. They're never going to have any problems. They don't want customers not getting paid and all this. And also they want their hand in the pie, right? So these corporations have, I'm sure there's ties to, you know, giving money to whatever, you know, there's always, yeah, of course, 100%.
Yeah.
Whereas, so I love his analogy, but he wouldn't be FanDuel. But he would be doing well as a bookmaker, because he ran a great business, and he wouldn't ever spent 10 years in prison.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Now, have you ever done any gambling in Monaco?
Oh, you're damn right.
I've heard stories about Monaco. It's no joke.
It's the best. I've been there 4 times.
4 times?
Yeah, I was their biggest customer in a trip, not ever. That's real money there.
Did you go to F1 there, or just there?
F1, I was there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I won $1.4 million the second trip I went there. My wife and I bought this this watch there.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What'd you bet on?
Baccarat.
Wow.
Yeah, and there the limits are. I was betting 200,000 euros a hand.
So pretty big limits there too.
Yeah, it's very similar actually. You'd be surprised. They just have more people over there with real money. I mean,
More than Singapore though.
way bigger.
Monaco's way bigger?
Way bigger. Now, what I mean by that is not gambling wise, real money there. Like, for example, I was working out in a gym with 2 Russians. They had a $400 million yacht. They were in the gym just checking out, hanging out, popping in there just to hang out in Monaco.
So oligarch type dude.
100%. They were oligarchs. I mean, they were like 35 years old. $400 million yacht. I don't even know where it came. I don't even ask, but they were jack kids. I call them kids because they're 35.
35 with yachts.
But no, this wasn't. It was like a ship. I have a picture of my phone. It's a gray. It's incredible. $400 million yacht. So that's real money, right? So when I was gambling at the tables, there'd be like sheiks and people who have billions. You don't see that very often. Even in Singapore and Macau, there's that. But these are like the real wealth of the world. And even when you're in Monaco, you feel it. It's everywhere you go. I've been to Jimmy Z's, a top nightclub. I've been to all the fine restaurants. I've done it all.
Wow. And
I stayed at Hotel de Paris. Le Grille's the top restaurant there. I have pictures of all this shit. I mean, my wife and I, we love it there.
That's always on my bucket list.
It's amazing.
Monaco, I've seen that, and I'm just like, her stories, and oh yeah, you got to have. I forgot the net before you can even be considered to get the citizenship, because for tax purposes, people want to get that citizenship.
Yeah.
And but it's just a small little area. It's not even that big.
It's tiny. So you can go from, basically when you land in Nice, you can go from, let's call it Nice, through Monaco to Italy within an hour. You can be in 3 countries
that
technically
quick, huh?
within an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's amazing. The location is it's gorgeous. Obviously, F1 attracts a lot, but I wouldn't go again in F1 unless you like that shit show crowd. I would go when it's off time and just enjoy the.
But they have the cans out there too.
Yeah, correct. It's gorgeous.
Wow. Is that probably one of the nicest places you've been to as far as
easily
in the world?
It's my favorite place.
Wow.
By far. But I'm bougie. I like that shit. So,
yeah.
I mean, I had 6 Rolls Royces. I've had Ferraris. I've had Lambos. I like bougie shit. So, I'm not going to lie. But it feels different. It's weird. Like, I've been a lot of places in the world. Saint-Tropez. I've been, obviously Macau, Singapore. I've been to Bali and the nicest areas in the world. Monaco's just different feel. You walk around and you just feel the money. Over there they have, I was told by one of the workers in the casino, for every 8 citizens, they have a police officer.
Wow.
It's the safest place in the world.
Well, actually, I heard even going a step further in Dubai, the guy was saying, dude, the police, when they pick up money, they don't even have guns.
In
they
Dubai?
got batons. There's no crime.
Wow.
No homeless, no nothing. You leave your car unlocked, bro. Nobody steals nothing there.
Well, they leave Ferraris on the side of the road.
Yeah,
have you been to Dubai?
I haven't been.
I've been. It's amazing. But Monte Carlo smokes Dubai.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Depends what you like, though.
Yeah.
Like Dubai probably has more actual money. Monte Carlo, the people coming into Monte Carlo are usually visiting, and there's a lot of wealth there.
Old money, though, right?
Yeah, but Dubai's got young, old. It's got shit.
Yeah.
You have everything, and it's bigger.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a big New York. Like Dubai.
Dubai.
Yeah.
And it's. I mean, Monaco's old, but what's impressive about Dubai is how quick. When we see the transformation of a country, and you look at like Dubai in the 80s, with the shit show, nothing there.
Right.
You fast forward, they got man-made islands, they got all this commerce. They're bringing in all these different events and stuff going on, and just when you pump money into your community, into your city, into your infrastructure, how that can impact, and no crime.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you look at the reverse here, but I'm just saying that to me was impressive and how fast they were able to make that happen.
It's amazing. And when you go there, you feel, like I said, Monaco, you feel it too, but it's different in Dubai. It's bigger and it's spread out more. And you don't, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I've only been there twice, but I'll tell you what it is, like the buildings are just scrapers that are higher than you can imagine.
Well, I look at the videos at the supercar dealerships and they're renting all these cars out. Dude, it's like they're abandoning $1 million cars, like the sand, running through the sand. They don't
like
care.
It's nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's bananas. I mean, because some of these people have fuck you money times fuck you money, which is incredible. It really is. It's a beautiful place. It's I rode camels and stuff, did all kinds of weird shit, but it was cool. I was there for New Year's.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we went there before I went to the Maldives.
Wow.
And that was pretty cool, but it's a little too quiet for me, but it was really cool.
So, the feds, man, when they hit you, like, what led to this actual case? What was it that led to you getting arrested in this case?
You never know, right? Because who ratted,
Yeah,
who's
I
talking.
mean,
I mean, I have like ideas of
you didn't
but
get no discovery, redacted stuff, blacked out, or nothing that you know? No,
nothing,
no.
because I'm about to be sentenced,
Okay.
so I don't even know. And to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of people that were talking about me.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have so many involvements in my case. It's the casino related stuff, which everybody's trying to save themselves.
Yeah.
And I was an easy target because I was flashy, and I didn't deny I was a bookmaker to anyone. I
But
truly.
you didn't burn nobody, so what's the
No, no, I didn't burn nobody.
So,
And the only reason why I was looking at 18 years in prison, 10 years for money laundering. That's the max, I should say. 10 years of money laundering, 5 years tax evasion, 3 years bookmaking.
okay.
When the FBI came to me, my attorney I hired, she came over for the first interview to, whether I was going to hire her. And she said to me, "You're going to prison." I said, "Okay." And she's like, how do you want to eliminate this problem as best you can? I said, "Well, obviously you tell me." And she's like, "Well, you need to cooperate." And I said, "I'm not talking about one person on my phone. These are my agents. These are my friends. I'm not doing it." And she said, "Well, you're going to have to." And then she even said, I live in a very nice house. She's like, "This house is gone." And my wife starts crying. I'm like, "Listen, Diane, there's one thing I'm not doing. I'm not talking about the people that have got me to where I am or who are under me." So my attorney tells me, the only way to really save yourself is to cooperate with the government. And I've never been through an actual federal case before. So I said, "I understand that, but there's one thing I'm not doing." And I said, "But they are asking for you to talk about the casino." And I said, "Well, I'll fucking talk all day about the casino. They're the ones who banned me after losing $9 million, and the rest of my crew, we lost almost $13 million there. And to be honest with you, I have a good feeling that's why you're here today, is because people at the casino are getting in trouble and they're talking about me. So you want me to talk about the casino? I'll do it with a smile. I fucking hate those casinos. It's a war between me and them. I don't look at that as ratting on anyone. In fact, no problem." She says, "Well, the problem is they're not going to let you just talk about the casinos. That's not how it works." And I said, then we're fucked, because I don't want to talk about anyone on my telephone." I said, "The truth is, my telephone and my computer has enough information for them to have everything anyway. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to elaborate. They have what they have." And she said, "Well, we can't do that." I said, "Well, Diane, then that's the only option. You call them, the prosecution, and you tell them that I will, cooperate in regards to the casino. And if they want to do that and give me a lighter load, then I would love to do that." So long story short, she says, "Oh, I've been doing this almost 30 years. They won't do that." Well, they did, because, let's be real, that's what they wanted.
They want money.
That's their pound of flesh.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. But when I went in and talked about the casinos, yeah, they allowed me to move all the money through there. So that's what they wanted. So I had something valuable to give to the government. I don't know if how much it's gonna lighten my load on my sentencing, but it definitely is helping. That's why I have a shot at. We'll see what happens. House arrest. Obviously, when you air this, we're gonna see where I stand. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be public knowledge. The gavel's gonna be dropped, and I might be looking at 2-3 years. I might be looking at house arrest, but house arrest is kind of like the best case scenario because of my cooperation credit. But first time offender. I don't have any priors. I'll first step to act. I'll use it if I need to. And my cooperation was pretty big.
Nonviolent.
Yeah, nonviolent, no victims. So we'll see. And I've been nothing but cooperative in regards to. I didn't talk to the FBI when they came. I said I'm going to get an attorney. But when it came to the casinos, I was just honest. I mean, yeah, they knew I was a bookie. They looked the other way. There's nothing else to say. It's the truth. Mm-hmm. They were having. If you go look at the government records and the Nevada Gaming Control Board, they were having meetings at Resorts World where they were erasing my name as a bookie. The guy running the meeting would say, "Hey, let's erase this." Mm. The employees were telling
So off the books.
Yeah, of course. So do I blame them? I was providing a massive income to them, so I get it. They needed business, and bookmakers were coming there and gambling very, very high. And it was a lot of the revenue. That we did 12, me and one other bookmaker who's in this case did 12%. 12% of the revenue in 2023.
12%?
Yeah, 12%. If you go look at Vegas Pauly C on the Instagram, he has a big following. He talks about all the numbers. It's factual.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I lost $9 million there myself, in 2023.
So when, I have another question I wanted to ask you. When they paid you out the $4 million from the Super Bowl, I mean, how'd they get that? I mean, did you get cash?
It was $9 million.
Nine?
Because I bet 4.2, and it was just under 9. I ended up winning like 8.5, getting back 8.5. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But I only bet in cash 1.25 million. The rest was through bookmakers throughout the country.
Got you.
Because they wouldn't take more.
Yeah. You spread the.
I had to.
Yeah.
The casino wouldn't take more.
Okay.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Yeah, because they were going to take so much.
I have the tickets in my phone. I was at the Atlantis Casino in Bahamas, and I bet 1.25 there, and then I bet $1 million through another bookie, 800,000 through another, 600,000. It was spread out throughout the casino, the world. And the casino, when I won though, they gave me chips, and I took the chips to the cage and then just had them wire it back home to me.
Okay.
Yeah. But the sad part was when I bet that bet, I was trying to bet $2 million. They wouldn't let me, and then I ended up blowing 800,000 in the casino before the Super Bowl. So when I won the 1.25, I actually 800,000 of it, I already lost. So I only won like 400 grand there in the Bahamas. But
did you actually watch the game?
Hell yeah, I did.
What were you doing? Were you about to shit yourself just watching? Were you like, ah?
Do you remember this game, the one I'm talking about? It was Patrick Mahomes hobbled in at halftime. The Eagles were up by, I think, 10 at halftime, and he hurt his ankle, and he hobbled in. It was Eagles and
yeah, because I thought
Chiefs.
he wasn't going to be able to finish the game.
100%. So my friend said to me, I literally looked like a little scorned bitch. I thought I was dead. They said that Chad Henne was coming in the second half. That's what they thought. Obviously, they went in and taped him up and probably shot his ankle every which way, Mahomes. And I decided I bet 400,000 on the second half. That's why I ended up having 4.6. That's why it was 9 million. Yeah, that's what it was. So I bet 400,000 more in the second half, not through the casino. I had no more money there, but I bet it through bookmakers. And they're like, my buddies are like, why are you betting 400,000 more? These fucking ankles. I said, because what's the difference? I'm gonna lose 4.2 million. I might as well get down more, And that was my thought pattern. I mean, that's a stupid thought pattern, but that's what at that point I was like, I don't even care. If I lose this game, I'm gonna be fucked every which way anyway. When I get home, I'm gonna owe all kinds of money.
Dude, you got me, like I said, every time I hear you say these stories, it might be like Adam Sandler, where he kept crying to his brother-in-law, was like, where's my money?
Yeah. Uncut gems.
Yeah, the dude's running around, he fake Rolex over here, and how's it give me my money? And
the hustle,
like,
man, you got to feed that. It's true, though. You always are feeding your dopamine rush, your addiction, and, I don't gamble anymore because I can't. I'm on a full monitoring system. My phone's monitored. They monitor everything I do. So I don't gamble. I don't book. My dopamine's gone. I'm finding it by sitting here with you.
Yeah.
Talking about my stories and reliving the past because those days are over. I mean, think about it. My son is 3.5 years old. When I got busted 17 months ago, he was basically 2. Okay? He's been on 44 private jet flights in 2 years as a baby.
Wow.
44 times. We went either to Vegas or, Dominican Republic or wherever we've gone. And, I would bring my nanny. We'd go into a villa. It's 12,000 square feet with a backyard and a pool, caviar in the plane, whatever we want. We walk in. The service is incredible. When we went Resorts World, they have one of the most beautiful villas. I mean, it's called a palace. And it's probably 12,000 square feet. It's huge. Yeah. Okay. And glass all the way around the room. You have your own backyard with a pool, right? Barbecue, the whole 9 yards. And the butlers had it down to what formula my kid had. They had the crib there waiting for us.
Wow.
So when we were coming, they knew, my wife and I ate pretty healthy, but they know I like chocolate chip cookies. So they'd have fucking array of that shit. Like whatever you like, they had it dialed in. That's how good Vegas is.
It's like going into heaven, like, here, all your vice,
yes,
everything.
It is.
Oh,
of course, the alcohol they feed you, I mean, they're smart. I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, the lifestyle that I was living is so hard to look back now and say, I'm not doing any of that anymore. Yeah. I flew with 18 of my family members to Dominican Republic on a private jet to a private concert with Andrea Bocelli.
Wow.
My wife and I did a meet and greet with him.
With the family, they were like, dude, this is incredible. I mean, that's once in a lifetime experience.
They've been living it, though. Like, we've done it. I took my kids to 4 casinos in 3 countries on private jets over 30 days, with a 30-day vacation. Panama, Dominican Republic, we went everywhere, all through the Bahamas, and every trip I won at every casino. That was one of the best trips of my life. So my kids have experienced so many great memories and moments, you know.
Yeah.
And luckily I've captured a lot of it. I have a lot
Yeah.
in my book. It talks about all this, and obviously I have pictures in there, and you know they're doing a documentary right now on me. So we got a lot of good stuff going on.
Plug the book, man, so people know when this drops where to find the book and stuff.
Yeah, because I'm not sentenced yet, it's not up, you know, it's
Okay.
being published.
We'll add that later. I just know if you already knew the title. So when we do come, we're gonna plug all your.
Okay, thank
stuff.
you. Yeah, it's called Recalibrate. My book, and my Instagram is at Matthew Bowyer 5.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm on all social media channels, but I'd love to have anyone's support to buy the book. I think it's a great book, man. It's very exciting.
Yeah, and we'll have to do a follow-up after you get sentenced, man.
Well, we will. We will. There's more to cover.
Big Herc 916, fresh out. Matthew Bowyer, man, amazing story. Subscribe, share the channel. You know how we do it.
Thanks, Big Herc, man. Pleasure.
Thank you for coming on, bro.
Great to see you.